submarine with camera, so I can watch what's in my lake or find treasure or something. And then we can have a drone that flies in the air. Also can have a look. All sorts. And it's only like $30.
Only?
Cheap. Yeah, $30 and free delivery. And always have trouble with customs. They want to check everything in there. Like everything is suspicious.
All right. Hey, dudes.
Yeah, good.
We it's top of the hour, and we're actually now live. I know it's crazy different, right? We don't get the fancy intros or anything like that. It's kind of just like, I just hit record now, and so here we go. But welcome everybody. We are. This is officially starting the show. I know some people they wait for the audio cues and all that stuff, but I'm on my MacBook today, and so I got a different camera. I got different softwares and stuff happening, and so I just need to figure a few more things out in order to get it up to par as to on my other computer. But I mean, it is what it is here. So we're just trying something new today. So I want to welcome everybody. What?
Play the intro on a mobile phone or something like low effort.
So when we were doing sound checks earlier, I thought that I can. So if I stream through my desktop, it'll pull the audio. If I stream using my camera, it will not pull the audio from my desktop. And so, that's kind of the downfall there. And it's like I could do both, but then,
Do you have your guitar close?
Well, it is over here. You want me to play a few?
You play some kind of.
Yeah.
Play
a couple rings.
Work. Yeah, it's hard to hype everybody because we don't have any music.
Yeah, get the
it's
overly hyped intro music. I do need to work on something new too. So, but I've been working on some other projects as well. But in case people know about that, I don't think a lot of because I haven't really advertised it at all. But let's just say if you like electronic music and Pokemon, I have a YouTube channel that I just made that I am making songs.
I'm in. So I was always talking that you should do like put the songs you made for the podcast.
So
now you're doing some Pokemon techno music.
Recently, I have found a volunteer who is able to work for free, do vocals for free, and happens to be a former coworker of mine whose daughter wants to get into the business. So so I'm doing,
now you're gonna be like
doing some
music producer Rambo
collaborations, but so far it's like Pokemon stuff. And so like I said, if you're interested in that, it's storytelling, it's lore, it's all of that in relation to like the Pokemon universe. If you're interested,
now contact Netflix and start making music for the new Pokemon series.
So I actually have
in all languages.
I spent several hours yesterday making videos just for that channel. So it's on auto upload every Sunday. Actually, no, every Saturday a new video goes up, and they're all scheduled for the next month. So
Jesus, and aggressive marketing strategy.
I have 2.
You posted one already?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the general chat.
I may have been recommended that already.
Nice.
I need to have already clicked on
it. So anyway, I got other things going on. But as always, I want to talk about Eve Echoes, at least on this podcast. And so that YouTube channel, if those that don't subscribe or haven't followed that, we're on YouTube. And subscribe for that, for all the latest stuff there. And I do want to get into my upcoming schedule for May, and we are going to be kind of hit and miss this next month, as we're having a show today, and then next week I'm going to be in Phoenix, and then the following week, the 17th, I think that's a Sunday, I want to do the Freighter Raid, so put that on your schedules. Speaking of the Freighter Raid, I'm about 60% full in the Freighter. So I do need more stuff. This last week, I got tons of donations. So I very much appreciate everybody who's donated their junk to go into this freighter. And there is some lucrative stuff in there. Like I put a red one metal in there, one from the Inscription of the Galaxy. I might throw a couple more in there in case, but like if I split it, it'll drop separately, I think, if it does drop. So whereas if I had it in a stack, then the whole stack would drop, and then somebody would be able to take the stack. You know what I mean? So if I split them, then I think multiple people would be able to get a chance at that. And then on top of, I've had people donate me ships. I think there's a Maelstrom hole in there. There's a bunch of stuff in there, man. Just blueprints for kind of expensive things. I think the most expensive BP in there is like 8 billion right now.
Ooh, wow.
And so, yeah, like I said, I
was doing good with what I sent.
Yeah.
I had someone sent me a contract, and I imagine that everything what you sent me will go to Rambo's freighter also. So if you send me something and you don't tell me, it automatically goes into Rambo's freighter.
There you go.
So if you're like, oh, Juby, I sent you this for you. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to go to the freighter raid.
Yeah, it's for the corp, man. No.
Yeah. So
you got all the tier 1 blueprints I sent you, right?
Yeah, whatever was in Jita went. Everything that was in Jita, even the stuff that was in my personal hangar in Jita, went into that freighter. And so, yeah, like there's tons of ships. There's probably like 100-something ships in there.
100 ships
easily.
God damn.
Easily.
You need to. I start to feel like I'm going to try to get the last hit on Rambo when the time comes.
But you know what's funny? You know what's funny though is if I do the insurance, it only says the freighter's worth like 15 bill. And so I'm like, there's a lot of things, but it's not that expensive comparatively. So if we get more expensive things, then obviously it'll go up.
Yeah, I need to have that cargo scanner.
But I have
cargo scanner. Yeah,
I have the mining implant, and so because I'm on that extra level of crab, I have that additional storage space in the cargo area there. So.
You're trolling. You're gonna swap it to the cargo self detonation.
Oh,
and when you die, you will take a few with you.
I didn't think about that.
That'd be amazing.
That's a good shout, because once I die, I mean, people better. I don't know if they're going to try looting or something right away, but they just don't acknowledge. And in level 45 mining, freaking go boom. So
you got to give the 45.
That's good stuff.
That would be glorious.
So anyway, there's that. So DM me, reach out to me, contact me in game if you want to donate more stuff toward that. Like I said, I'm about 60% full, so I can take more stuff. And if I do get enough stuff, I'm just gonna take out some of the smaller ships and stuff that take up a lot of cargo space. That I would rather have mods and BPs and rigs and all that type of stuff instead of ships.
Yeah,
because obviously you can loot the mods, you can't loot a ship, so you need like big guns. Not even big guns, you just need like cargo ship nearby to be able to loot it. But so there's that. So we're cooking on that. So I'm trying to schedule that for the 17th of this month, and then the following week I'm going to be in San Diego. I know it's like I'm doing a tour, but we got tons of things happening this month, and so
Rambos.
I'm doing
worldwide.
I'm doing an E1 tour, right? And so then I'll be in Scottsdale, or not Scottsdale, but San Diego that following week. So we won't have a show next weekend, and then the weekend toward the end of the month there. So there is somewhat of the future for you guys as far as what's going on ahead of you. All right, and then what has happened all in the game this last week, huh? It seems like for game news, it's been pretty quiet. I didn't really see anything about a patch notes. Maybe I didn't pay attention to a patch notes if there was one, but I knew there was like an announcement that came up on the login screen. But typically I just click past that anyway, and read it later. But I can't admit to actually reading it, so I don't know if that was anything lucrative. So was there anything?
Also, I'm also a bit shameful. I haven't even read the patch notes. So, why do we do this show? Because everyone is waiting for us to read it.
We all know Juby's
everything.
here for comedic relief. So.
Oh yes, we need Bradrick.
Yes, Pneumatosis was the one that gave me the Javelin BP. That thing was worth like 8B. So,
ooh,
yeah.
Yum. That's how did they say? Winner, chicken dinner.
This patch never really applied. Okay, so B-Town posted in the on-air chat about the bug fixes. Fixed an issue where the Beacon of Siege fleets might not disappear. Fixed an issue where battery modules gained abnormal capacitor warfare resistance attributes. Fixed an issue where remote repair modules on lightweight ships are calculated 1x effect. Fixed an issue where the skill bonus for the Delirium was incorrect. Fixed an issue where certain enemies in the Void Shadow mission spawned abnormally. Okay, I can't really say I know any of those issues. So, crazy.
Like, okay.
Man, have you been...
When those things don't affect me, I just glance over
right,
and pass
exactly.
by.
I'm like, never heard of this stuff, whatever. It doesn't affect my seal mod, so it is what it is. But have you noticed a lot of these SOE capitals going up for sale? Like, crazy amount of expensive, man. People are getting them, and then they're just trying to sell them on the market, trying to get that ISK. So I know quite a few people trying to sell the SOE or even trying to trade it for a super. People are literally trading them for supers. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In addition to like ISK and stuff.
Yeah, the big difference is the fact that it can move through HiSec. I think that attracts a lot of people, a certain portion of the player base.
Sure.
So it's now like a competitor to Science and the Moonshine Carrier.
So it's a Logi ship though. Like it's not even
Logi.
It's not even like good for PvE. Yeah. So,
but can't you? I bet you can do some kind of rigging things like similar to Luciant. Kind of, you can make it.
I'm sure it's probably pretty good, but there's probably
Transformer.
Better. Let's see, capital ships. I'm just looking up the price right now to see what it's going for right now. Capital assault carriers, the Telemachus. There's one on the market right now for 295 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see.
Nice. But I want to say
that's a chip.
Right,
I want to say I seen one for 800. I want to say I see one for 800B. Yeah, and like people are trying to trade it and ISK for supers and whatnot, like wyverns and such. Like, okay, wow. So
I can't even afford the market transaction taxes on that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that I was thinking like, 800 billion. Then you pay like 15% tax, like, and then it's 6 days in the market. Then you need to do it again or refresh or something
exactly.
like that.
Okay.
The contract is
so it looks
better.
Looks like B-Town has one here. He's got 33,000 DPS. So still can't Logi the mothership. Yeah, I mean I've seen Sciences with higher DPS, but Telemachus can rep 284,000 every 30 seconds. That's including reps from Logi, lightweights, and group cap mods. I bet they have a pretty decent use when it comes to fleet warfare. That's probably going to be pretty baller.
I guess people are gonna, target the ship first also. So let's see if the bombard supers can break it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. All right. So that was really it for game news I want to talk about. They gave us a gift in our DMs in game for like Labor Day blessing or something like that. But is that tomorrow? I think it is. My job, my career doesn't believe in holidays, and so I never really pay attention to that stuff.
We had Labor Day celebration was it Friday? Tuesday, Friday. It was, yes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you celebrate Labor Day usually at work. So
yeah.
yes.
I celebrated at work.
yeah.
I get that overtime.
Let's celebrate. Though. Yes.
Get that overtime.
Let's work together. Yes.
Nothing like clocking into 8 hours already, and then the rest is over.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that. We got some SP and whatever else. I think I deleted that message. Rewards. Oh no, I didn't. I still have it. We got. That was the Voyage core. Yeah, the Voyage Frigate Nanocore Opt Box.
There it is.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
but didn't they nerf the Voyage core?
I believe so. Yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
so it's not good, but I remember.
It's almost a troll, in my opinion.
Voyage is nerfed, right?
Like
I don't know because I haven't used it, so I don't even remember what exactly they nerfed about it. But everybody got one, and of course it's the purple one, and it's for frigates, and so I could see that being a popular one amongst PvPers, though I don't know how good it is anymore.
It was.
It was.
It was.
So it's not as good anymore because they reduced the speed boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the fastest.
I'll probably throw that
thing you can do.
I'll probably throw that into the library then, dismantle it or whatever. So yeah, rip.
No,
dude. I'm never in.
No, you gotta integrate it.
Never. So. Jesus. But do a succubus with medium afterburner, and then put that thing in, and then you go fly like 40k. 50k or 100k speed.
They say it only goes like an extra 1000 ms, even on a medium afterburner. Like they seriously nerfed that capability.
Oh man,
of the Voyage core. The black and white is a lot better now.
Oh man.
Yeah. Is it the blue and white? Blue and white.
Blue and white. My bad.
Yeah. So I remember the Voyage and the blue and white they were pretty OP. For PvP stuff, just because of the benefits that they had. But with this one being nerfed, I never even owned a blue and white one. To even know, to remember if that ever got nerfed. But looks like we got some amethyst cones too for the people that are doing the AI ratting and stuff, and then some AI learning codes. Okay, so there you go. Labor Day greetings from NetEase. So, all right. Then that was basically it that I had for game news. Unless either you guys have anything to join or to add to that, but we can jump into the guests that we have planned for today and get some conversations going. I know I didn't spoil it in the announcement, but those that may have been in the after party after last episode or have just been talking to me in general on other Discords, I did kind of hint. Who we're going to have today. And so our first guest today is going to be Martha Pater. So I'm going to invite them to speak. Well, welcome.
Hi, guys.
Welcome, Martha. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah. How's it going, everyone?
Good. How about you?
Fine. Yeah, just came back from a decent roam in TCOS space.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
Baller, dude. All right, man. So, I mean, per our conversation, you wanted to talk about some things. You reached out to me.
Mega alliances.
Yeah, mega alliances. And so, in the history of New Eden, I don't know, Martha, have you been playing since the beginning of the game?
Not like very beginning, but about just under a year after launch. So 5.5 years, 5.5 years, maybe. So good deal of the game's history. I did take some breaks, but I have been around when said mega corporations have been around as well. So
mega corporations and or mega alliances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much a mix between the two. Mega corporations more prominent in EVE Online, but they still have a little bit of place in EVE Echoes as well.
Sure.
So mega alliances, let's start with those. So at the moment, it's been pretty much AOA. Meow's been gaining expansion, as has Trog with their conquests at the moment. You could also argue, since they've had their reshuffle, I believe it's UEE, who are the new version of VVV. So yeah, they're all expanding right now, even.
Okay. So let's back up a little bit. So that's current events, right? Let's back up till just a couple years ago, before AOA. Who were the major alliances back then, before AOA?
Well, when I first started playing, the one alliance I saw everyone talking about, well, in fact, there may have been two, but the two which I remember were No Stop and Void. Void were very much a superpower, given their sovereignty and the amount of influence they had over New Eden. My old alliance, Serenity, they were more localized. They tried to avoid direct confrontation with these larger, strong alliances. Don't blame them, but yeah. The thing with mega alliances is, in order to conquer them, you need your own mega alliances. So there's a bit of gridlock there.
Sure. So just a bit to add there. During that time, right? So you had No Please Stop, you had Void, you had Pravi, aka Serenity Alliance. You had, and depending on where we're at in this timeline too, you had GenFed, Pantheon, and Silent Alliance. And modern day AOA wasn't technically around, though there were some Chinese alliances, like or a lot of, I wouldn't call them specifically Chinese alliances, but you had alliances with a lot of the Chinese people in them. So TCOS,
which would then go on
NEEC, so NEEC. Who else we talking about? Hack. Well, I don't know that much about
Hack
mainly Russian, back then, but I know more about Hack nowadays than I did back then. But Meow's been around for a while. I'm trying to remember the alliance that they were in before Meow. But anyway, like there was some prominent Russian alliances as well. So that was kind of the landscape at the time. And of course, wars happen, and Pantheon falls off the map, and GenFed falls off the map, and Serenity gets attacked, and then they end up getting taken over by another entity, and so on. So of course you're going to have these major conflicts that happen in the game. That's only to be expected. But when it comes to growing an alliance, that's what they look for, is when you're trying to expand your alliance, you almost always have to strong arm them. You can't just be nice to them in general. You know, there's diplomacy and all that type of stuff, but in the history of this game, if you wanted to gain or expand your alliance, you basically had to go to war and try and take that alliance over, or make them quit and split up. And oftentimes, those entities would rather split up than join the entity that they're fighting. And typically that's in the terms, right? And it's like, well, SHH didn't like the leadership of Pantheon, so they attacked Pantheon. Okay, then they split, and most of them went into GenFed. And I know this is kind of a history lesson for some of the listeners too that may have not been around at the time. And then
for me as well.
And so a lot of those corporations, you know, went into TSC and GenFed and all that stuff. And rather than moving across the New Eden, they would rather stay in their area but join a different alliance and all that type of stuff. And so those alliances got bigger just because of that. And then further wars happen. And it's like, oh, we don't like your leadership, so we're going to start attacking you. Oh, we want to acquire Delve, so we're going to start attacking you, et cetera, et cetera. And so these entities are wanting to expand their own alliances, basically, in order to, you know, grow, get that income, all that type of stuff. And so fast forward, now you look at the landscape of currently, you know, New Eden, and you have your superpowers, right? You have AOA, you have Meow, you have Starfall, which is in deck now, you know, Trog, and like who else? Like who else is like a notable major alliance out there? Because TSC went into Meow, and Meow basically has like Delve and Fountain. TCOS is out there.
Yeah, TCOS.
So
let's just look at the star map. That might be a good place. Bot 5.
Bot 5, okay. Yeah.
They've got a few good regions.
So I mean, aside from the natural politics of the game, these alliances become bigger. Now, how does that pose a problem?
Well, obviously, as corporations alliances they grow bigger, their membership's going to increase. It's all going to get a little crowded inside space. They're going to want to have some more systems to rat in. That might mean they decide to expand a little, but eventually they expand right onto an enemy alliance's doorstep, and that never usually ends well. Then you've got more and more tension. You've got other corps and other alliances wanting to intervene, and it just escalates, really.
Right. And I have a long-standing joke from back when I was a CEO. Why do people fight over POS slots is beyond me. It's absolutely crazy, but they do. And it's just like you hear about all the drama about this. My eyes rolled into the back of my head, and I was just, I'm not dealing with this stuff. This is just dumb. But when you look at it more broad, yes, POS slots are a thing. You know, corporations have their industry. They have their income is probably somewhat based off of POS slots or either rental fleet fees or the planetary that comes from them. You know, of course, in nullsec, it's more enticing too. So you want to have the SOV, you want to pay for it to have the benefits of that security system. But yeah, and to your point, right? So you expand into those, and a lot of corps don't use like all 8 systems. Like why have a corp so big and have 8 to 10 SOVs and you don't even use them all, you know? And so furthermore, you get into these alliances too, and you know, they're charging fees for number of SOVs and all that type of stuff. So ultimately the corps have to pay for it at the end of the day. But you know, it's crazy to see the current alliance landscape, and you look at the map, and the big one is being blue with everybody. So the larger the alliance, and of course they're blue with everybody, it seems like. Now I think the current landscape, I don't know if Meow is blue to AOA. I think they're sworn enemies. I think they're, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're like perma red with AOA. But AOA has their enemies, and of course they're still very large, but they have a lot of SOV. And and I know with the changes that the devs are doing with these rats, you know, the pirates that are attacking the SOVs, they're trying to get that to, you know, be smaller, so they're not owning as many SOVs, especially if they're not using them. So I think the devs acknowledge that this is a game issue, and that's why they're trying to do this. Of course, they're going to make it harder. They're going to make it harder than your typical anomaly, I figure. But ultimately, they want the activity, and so if they see a major alliance, at first they came with the ISK dues. Remember that? The alliances were charged for however many SOVs that they have. And when that first dropped, like AOA got hit with like 500 billion. It was an absolute crazy number. And guess who was in the Cloud's DMs the very next morning, right after that update? Because they get billed and they were pissed. It's like, well, what do you want? Like, we told you that this was going to happen. And either they don't listen or they can't split up. I mean, granted, it is a bit more technical. Because when it's coming down to splitting alliances, of course, in AOA, you have AOA, AOS, AOX. Like, there's tons of them, right? And so, and each one is technically its own alliance, but they're all under one alliance. And of course, you know, all the dues are split between all the entities and all that type of stuff. But the devs know this is a problem, and they want they want alliances to actually be smaller. They want more conflict. They want corporations to use their SOVs. They see this as an issue, whereas there's corporations in high sec or low sec or in NPC space that's considered low sec that don't have SOV out in null sec. That's like, oh, hey, look, this spot is open. Get this corporation, get this alliance out of here. They don't want to join that alliance per se because maybe the language doesn't mesh up. No, there's tons of different types of corporations out there, as far as like French corps, Spanish corps, Portuguese, corporations that are primarily from Brazil, corporations that are from Indonesia, Japanese corporations, etc. And like, well, we don't want to join this alliance because they don't speak our language and we don't want to, deal with that. So there is kind of like a need for that, kind of a niche to want to go out and expand into territories and then expand their own alliances, but they can't because these major alliances either own that area already or they would offer it to them for like a rental fee. There's alliances that do the whole renter program type thing. So I never really believed in that. That's just me personally. But, I know a bunch of alliances that are doing that type of program too. And as far as the people that are renting those SOVs, I don't know what kind of protections are in that, but that is very much indeed a thing. But as far as the ongoing problem, I believe the devs see it and they've watched it over the years, and it's possible that they're even part of the problem, right? We all know the devs are from China. That's no doubt, that the headquarters is literally in Hong Kong. And you figure if they're in the game, they're probably in one of these major alliances, right? And so they know of the issues that's ongoing, and they could only do so much. Now, for us as members of the community, what we can do is we can not really entice it, but promote conflict. Or, okay, let's be for real here. We have gotten into a state of the game where people would rather PvE than to PvP. Whereas if you look to the game like back in year 1, where there was so much you had so many alliances. Shoot, what was that one that was making a big stink way back in the day? LP4S? Does that sound right? I think Dead was part of them. Damn it. No, OpForce, OP4S. So like there was like little groups like that were hardcore PvP, and then they would just go around and roam and piss everybody off, and people are like, no, don't attack us because we're crabbers and we're miners and we don't want to do this. Then over the years and over the updates and over the content that's been added, it's been slowly deteriorating. The PvP aspect of this game is where people want to rather hide in the stations than go out and PvP, because there's like, what's the benefit of it? What's the reward of it? Is there a time? Got to rat 24/7 to afford overpriced ships? Yeah. The inflation of Plex, is crazy. Just the inflation of ships. Like if you look at EVE Online, Super is what, $1 billion, $2 billion, whereas here they're in the T's. And so that's just comparing the two. And it's like, how come EVE Online doesn't have this odd inflation aspect of it? And I'm sure there is in a way over there, but they probably have a lot more ISK in circulation, or they have limits in place that prevent that. But it seems like this game, we've evolved to not want to PvP, and alliances have formed to not PvP. They want these pacts. They want to join alliances to be blue, just so that alliance doesn't roam them. So then they have to focus their eyes elsewhere, etc. So that's why you have corporations that like Spy, and maybe some other corporations that are kind of or alliances that are more so PvP oriented, and they don't join these major alliances. and they don't have to worry about diplomacy. They don't have to worry about pacts. They can disguise and they can roam and they can kill whoever they want. But is CRB if they're I haven't really kept up with CRB as of late. I know I'm on their Discord, but I haven't really checked them out to see what they're doing as of late. But if they're still killing it, yeah, dude, if they're still at it, that's awesome. But like, so then then it goes to the ongoing problem of why is everybody blue? People call it the blue donut. And sorry if I'm talking quite a bit, Martha, based off of your point, but I kind of wanted to get this across in this topic. Is people would call it the blue donut, and when you seen it when Kraken Alliance was formed with Void and whoever else was in the South down there at the time, I forget. Was it not Hand, but who else was out there? So TSC, Void, and who else? Burr. Oh yeah, Burr. So when they developed the Kraken Alliance, and it's like, oh well, now we got the blue donut, right? Because you look at the map and everybody's blue with each other, with the exception of literally 2 alliances, and it's those 2 that they're at war with, and so that poses a problem internally, because now, say there's people that want to PvP, but they have to go across New Eden. People that want to PvP and maybe go to different areas that are more enticing than to go to the hotspot areas, which are always up in arms all the time, right? And so there's kind of like a deter there where people didn't want to go into that area because they ended up losing ships, compared to if they go to an area that's not as popular in PvP and there's a lot more caps undocked and Rorks out, or just miners AFKing or whatever. They want to go to those areas and get those people, but they can't because they're blue. And so then that poses a problem too. It's like, I think AOA sees this as an issue too, and they often use the disguise. They also use neutral alts to be able to tackle. I mean, using neutral alts is not new in the game as far as PvP goes. For multiple different reasons, but you can see why that they do that to evade the blue status. So that's been an ongoing issue for years, and just these major alliances taking over everything. I think the devs see it, and I think they're making remedies to it. Could they be better? Maybe. Could their communication be better about it? For sure. But yeah, I think between the ISK fines and now the siege fleets hitting the citadels, it's like, what are we to expect next? It hasn't. They just attack. They don't destroy. Right. I think they just they put it into uncontested or whatever, and then literally anybody can go and toast the set. So, all right, Martha, what else you got? I actually don't know that. So according to chat, yes, they do stay on grid until they're killed. So there you go. Solves that. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, people using the gates and all that. Yeah. So Citadel just loses control. Mm-hmm. Sure. So I see your point, and here is kind of the theoretical remedy that I can think about for something like that. So say AOA splits up into their separate alliances, and cool. They have to go they have to go neutral with each other, first of all. And second of all, the surrounding alliance around that AOA partition of the alliance has to be neutral as well. And the thing is these alliances and they're creating packs and all this stuff to be blue with each other just to not PvP. Like I said, they're trying to evade the whole PvP aspect of it. Whereas this, you could go to the next region in PvP. And for example, I'm going to use the bot 5 and wolf scenario. For a long time, wolf was a renter alliance of bot 5. They are neutral to each other to this day. Now, do they have a PvP type of pact going on? Like when I remember when SHH was around, we were, I think, neutral with Wolf, but we didn't roam their space because they were renting from bot 5, but they were still neutral, right? And so you can still have all that type of stuff, but in game you don't have to have the alliances set blue and all that type of stuff. And so there's that type of model that you can go for, but again, it involves communication and it involves everybody being on top of that. And I don't think a lot of people are willing to do that. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, that's again one of those questions. It's like, well, are you going to roam the space? Did the people that own that space, do they want to be roamed? And often it's the latter. Like they don't want to be. They want to sit there. They want to crab. They want to AI mine. They want to AI rat in peace and not have to do that. And a lot of corps kind of went to that mentality as of late. And so that's why you can do a roam for 45 minutes and not see anybody, is because they got systems in place or whatever for not losing things. And so New Eden wide, it's rough to find space that doesn't have that, that's not blue. And that can pose a problem. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So you used to be an FC. What kind of problems did you see or face when it came to major alliances and fighting them?
Well, I'm a sub. Well, I was, and I'm still trying to maintain sub cap FC status. I do own a capital ship, but I don't really use it. So when I do roam in sub caps, I'm obviously very wary about what's going to come and help whatever we're shooting. So I think a fair fight is a fair fight. If I see something which looks fun, I go for it. But what I really don't like is just being bombarded by a whole fleet of supers just landing all on grid at once. Obviously, if you're looking at that in terms of defense, it's necessary, but personally, I think it really damages the game.
Sure.
So I remember I did an operation in Meow Space, I think. We had 30 supers land on us. Almost a fleet wipe. Wasn't very fun, but I think Meow are just protecting their interests. They don't want to lose ships. They don't want to lose authority among the other alliances, and that just makes it that little bit trickier when picking targets and having to worry about what might happen. What might happen once we've hit our targets? What's going to happen next? Are we going to be able to get out, or are we just going to be vetoed and just completely annihilated?
Right. Yeah, and
usually it's the annihilation part.
Right. The super power of major alliances such as AOA is it almost cannot be matched by literally anybody else. And you could probably take every other alliance, add them up together, and they still may not be able to actually compete with AOA. On top of AOA incentivizes their members by what was it? There's a number out there. If you just join, they pay you an ISK. Like, for example, just say 1 billion. But I have a feeling it's more than that. 1B, yeah. I wanted to say it was a B, but they incentivize people to join with supers. And, regardless if you're going to attack anything or not, they just want the supers on grid. And that is typically enough to boast to make a fight not happen. And if a fight does happen,
just to maintain that deterrent.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, and it's when you've had a long history of bot accusations and all this stuff, how an alliance gets so rich is beyond me. How they have that many supers is beyond me, but I suppose they have really good industry programs.
So. Yeah. Good investments.
Good investments.
Yeah.
But the superpower is definitely a major issue with a lot of the alliances, and that goes for, if not all the alliances, because you roam their space and typically you're expecting to get a super dropped on you. That's the expectations, basically.
Think about that.
How do you get away with that? How do you get away from that, I should say?
Well, do your homework. That's probably a useful phrase. So before I bring 20 or so people who want a roam, I'd scout ahead, look for any hot systems, escape routes, places where sinos. So I'm a fan of blops, so sinos really are quite critical, and you just need contingency plans, because usually nothing's going to work how you first expect it to.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I say this coming from a former AOA position. If you look at, I'm looking at the sovereignty map right now. I'd say about half of New Eden is controlled by AOA allied corps. So when I'm not blocking, I'm sometimes doing filament roams, but annoyance of just having to filamenting in and just having to navigate your way out. It's sometimes really annoying, wastes a lot of time, wastes ISK if you're spending money on those 20-man filaments, and it's really not that constructive.
So tell us about your experience in an AOA alliance.
So I've recently left AOA actually, but during my time there, the corp I was in itself, it was roughly in the middle of nullsec, so wasn't that far to get anywhere, but that also made it quite a highway for enemies to use. So lots of PvP happening. Lots of times where we thought we'd launch counterattacks, but that again was bait. I remember a Trog armor fleet coming in to hit a Rork wall. We brought out a capital fleet to respond, only to find out. Wait, no, it wasn't Trog. Sorry, was it Trog? It was either Trog or Meow. But they then brought in a bunch of supers, and the fact that the space layout of the galaxy works that easily to be able to conceal in supers and just bring them through, it makes everyday operations just very hard to coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
My old co-op as well. We had mixed languages, English and Russian. About half the corp spoke English, half the corp spoke Russian. Very few actually spoke both. So that made language barriers quite difficult to do. That led to some internal division. We did navigate around it a bit. We had, I remember the other FCs, they didn't know English, thankfully. Did try to bring some translators so we can make operations that more bit inclusive. But yeah, sometimes that leads to misunderstandings. Times where ops don't go to plan, and you feel a bit disappointed, a bit let down that whatever you're doing hasn't worked. Then that just leads to more division amongst the corporation, really.
Sure.
I began with leading ops just within my corporation, but then that moved because I wanted more numbers in the fleet. We were trying to take on lone supers and T2 dreads, bodyguards, and lancers. So I opened ops to the rest of AOA. We got quite a good attendance from I think it was the remnants of Nice when Meow attacked them, so that they merged into AOX, and we did quite a bit of attacking in South Delve. So that was quite fun.
But as far as alliance PvP and ops like that, did you have to target certain entities where you kind of demanded in that way to target certain areas?
I wasn't really told what to do. I remember, well, we spoke about Wolf earlier. That used to be my go-to spot. Eventually, they did do a deal with my old corp, and for about a week or so, we were told don't hit them. So I had to go elsewhere. But mostly, my fleets, they're mainly recreational. They're not really CTA style fleets where everyone has to show up. It's just maybe 20 or so players just trying to find some fun.
Yeah. But the areas were limited though.
Yeah, we didn't want to constantly face the risks of fleet wipes. Obviously with time zones in my corp, we couldn't get everyone on at once. So we had to realize that we could only go after so many areas before having to having to withdraw. So if you look at Branch, Declan, maybe West Fountain, they were very hard to actually get into. Remember Eve, some people really take it on as their jobs, like on Eve Online. But to me, this is a hobby. This is a game. I don't want to spend every hour of my day just grinding. I'm sure most other people here they wouldn't want to spend 10 hours waiting just for a potential mid-hocker kill or just a T1 carrier.
Yeah.
So we just do whatever feels sensible. We don't bite off more than we can chew.
So Gromeyer, with your experience in PvP and roaming, and going up and roaming like these major alliances, what do you see in New Eden?
The game is evolving completely. There is almost an inability to roam altogether. You either filament hop directly into a system and take out whatever you can, or you sino in with Black Ops, or you drop supers and gate camps. That's pretty much all the game is at this point. Sov warfare is non-existent. Anybody who doesn't want a PvP is just hiding in the Citadel and waiting for you to leave. Last night I roamed for, I want to say it was like 3 hours, all the way until 3 a.m. down south, all the way into aggro. And not only did I not see another player, nobody came and chased me. And the one person who ended up coming and chased me was a Shanghai. And I was like, you guys don't have anything else smaller? And he's like, sorry, battleship up. And I'm like, oh man, there's just no activity anymore in subcaps, in sub supers, which is like really depressing because the funnest part of this game is roaming around and exploring and finding a target that's unprepared for you and taking them out and then trying to get out at the same time. And that's just not existent anymore. The game has evolved way past that.
Crazy, huh? Yeah, I think definitely the regions of activity do differ. That's just reality. And so you get some areas that are a little bit more hot and then maybe a little bit better guarded. And then you have others that are just empty space for, pipe systems and all that type of stuff. It's just people don't use those systems because they are highways, because of the traffic, because Gromeyer wants to go from low sec to a certain system and delve, and he's going to take that highway there. And so they want to stay off that highway. They don't want to get that engagement and all that type of stuff. And so, yeah, it's crazy.
Not only
stuff.
that, but everybody's crowding together in the high, I should say low SOV system. So if you got like a 0.9 system and everybody wants to mine, everybody's going to go there for protection. They're all going to be 20 people in the same system. And then there's 20 systems with nobody in it.
Right.
So it makes it very difficult for small groups, solo roamers, anybody who wants to do subcap content to even find a chance.
Yeah. So corporations need to use their other SOVs. And of course, all those SOVs that you're going through, they may not have anybody in them. They're still owned by somebody. So that's kind of where like POS warfare comes into place. Is you start attacking a POS in a SOV that has literally nobody in it. You're going to expect some sort of defense or something, possibly. So there you're trying to get content to actually come to that POS. Sometimes it is solo people. Sometimes they'll show up for the shield or the shield timer in 2 ships, and then when the armor timer comes around, say they lose those ships, and the armor timer comes around, and it's like, oh, okay, now they have like 17 people there with supers and all this type of stuff, and so it gets difficult for those smaller roams, solo PvPers, all that type of stuff when facing these larger alliances, for sure.
I was doing some doorbell knocking last night trying to get people to come out, but I remember from back when I was in TSC, if somebody is over there hitting POS shields or structure shields, an alliance chat is just like, just let it go. It's just shields. Doesn't matter. We'll just wait till they come back for the timers. Just let them roam around, just dock up, wait till it's safe. And it was more like ignore the threat instead of defend your area.
Yeah, interesting.
So
That's a weird mentality to have, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just like, oh, it's just shields. Wait for the timers. And so I think the timers has played a huge impact on people wanting to defend their SOV, wanting to defend their territory. The only thing that it really affects them when people come through is now they have to stop ratting, now they have to stop mining. And that it's just the time aspect.
So
but
inconvenient.
their actual structures and stuff, nobody really cares if those get attacked until it's in hull.
Right.
And then you got to form a fleet.
It's all replaceable. I don't understand why it's life or death, you know. So fighting over a POS is boring unless the owner is online and gunning. That is true. I personally don't like attacking POSs because it's boring. That's just me. But yeah, I just haven't bothered with that. But as far as like roamers, solo roamers, all that type of stuff, if Intel provides that they're in a ship that I could probably take, then I'm out there doing that. But sometimes it's not always the case. Sometimes I'm just online and not doing anything, just station spinning anyway. But it's kind of crazy how over the years we've gotten to this point. So yeah. Anything else, Martha, that you wanted to talk about?
Not really. Not really. Generally, I'm guessing maybe we could delve on a bit about how the devs could perhaps manage this part of the game. It's not a simple answer, but it could be worth discussing.
Yeah, and like I've mentioned in the past, is they've come up with these systems to entice using the SOVs. So having the ISK fees, having the siege fleets come attack you. It's like, what next? What else are they going to do to get people to use their SOVs to promote activity? What else can they do?
Well, the straight up answer I would give is just removing systems entirely. So if you look at number of dead end systems which are in use, not being most of them don't have that much activity. They're not really being profited off, so we may as well get rid of them. And eventually, the more systems you get rid of, the more other systems which were previously empty are going to be used as well. Another suggestion I think could be perhaps increasing or decreasing bounties based on the number of people and systems. So have more anomalies spawn in empty systems. Perhaps increase the cooldown time for spawning those anomalies in more busy systems, so people have to go.
I like that idea.
Have to go elsewhere.
Right.
Or I guess just raise the fines.
Yeah.
But eventually, there's going to be some newly developing corps which might not be able to simply pay those. I remember there was a brief moment where AOA was actually about to be disbanded because they hadn't yet paid the fees.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's possible for AOA, then it could be equally likely for other corps and other alliances.
Right.
I think they had 6 hours to pay the fee before they got disbanded, so it was quite close.
So
that's funny.
I think there was a thing proposed. We saw like leaked screenshots of it, and I think it turned out to be for Eve Frontier anyway. But they take the regions and they mix up the regions. And so they turned it into this, like circular region type of scenario where every so often the regions will change to where you have different neighbors. And so that might be something that would work, but again, you have to limit the alliances or implement higher fees to promote smaller alliances, all that type of stuff. But
yeah,
if 1 week my region was where it's at, and then the next week it changes, and I got new neighbors all of a sudden, that changes, routes as far as getting to low sec. That changes a lot of things, honestly. If you look at it, aspects of the game that maybe I'm not thinking about right now, but that would be crazy to have new neighbors every so often. And it's like, now what? Now what? Do you do diplomacy? Do you do PvP? Do you do structural warfare? Do you try taking that area over? And then the next month it changes again. Then you got to do it again. I could see that being kind of a thing where people get burnt out on it. It's like constantly changing like that. There's no
they'd have to
continuity.
monitor how often they change that.
But maybe there's areas that don't change. Like
like
low
high
sec,
sec, low sec,
low sec, high sec regions, and people, if they don't want to have new neighbors every few weeks, then they can go to low sec. But that's not really enticing, is it?
Yeah, well, in the online low sec corps, high sec corps, they're a lot more prominent. Maybe they could have similar changes done from that.
And then war decks.
Hmm.
If war decks were a thing, then you'd probably see a lot of these smaller alliances trying to, or even just corporations in general, they'll war deck another random corporation in high sec and get content from that. Now, when it comes to the bigger guys, there's more targets for sure compared to them war decking you. Then they got to work a little bit harder in order to get you. But as far as big targets goes, if you war deck AOA, I mean, you have targets everywhere. Whereas vice versa, they don't. So yeah, good luck with that, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think somebody had mentioned it earlier about some of these citadels being able to be destroyable. The fact that the tier 4 citadel can't even be destroyed, it can only be captured, and then you have those rats that come in on the inactive fleets just hovering outside, means that's just going to stay there until it repairs, because nobody can capture it with a small group anymore.
Right.
And a large group doesn't want to come in because then they're super vulnerable. So if you start making some of these rats able to take out those citadels if they're not defended, you're going to start seeing more gray areas pop open on the SOV map. Neighbors will change. People will move in for different strategic advantages. Maybe Ansible X gate systems will go down, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's until those tier 4 citadels can be destroyed where SOV can actually change hands, everything's going to stay the same.
And
yeah.
And one thing I actually hope is that they do implement that ability. Just blow it up. Just go straight to hull and blow it up if it's being attacked by a siege fleet.
If it can't be defended, then it should be gone.
Yeah,
in my opinion. I mean, you can't just let it sit there inactive. The drones were supposed to be a threat. It's supposed to be a threat that you're going to lose SOV if you don't protect your system. And if the drones are just going to sit there and let it stay in hold, the only disadvantage they have now is that they can't move stuff in and out of the system. But if nobody's living there anyway, because it's a pass-through system, it doesn't matter.
Right. It's only being used for POS slots anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah,
maybe the devs have this in the timeline. We don't know because they don't tell us anything. Maybe it is something that they are looking into doing.
Mm.
All right then, Martha. Anything else?
Yeah. That's really all I can think of. Obviously, the game's always changing, new exploits, new features. It could be possible that this gets solved in the next few months, but anything could really happen. So we'll see. We'll see how the situation unfolds.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's it.
We just have to sit back and spectate, basically, and see what happens and adapt. Go from there.
Yeah, that's how the game's been for the past few years since launch. It's going to be like that for the rest of its life.
Do you think with CCP reacquiring EVE Online, do you think there's anything going to change there as far as EVE Echoes goes?
I feel like there would be an increase in players, but the satisfaction of the current players wouldn't improve dramatically.
True.
It's going to take a while, no matter what CCP does.
Yeah. Yeah, this definitely ain't going to be an overnight change, whatever they do. So they're going to implement it slowly, all that type of stuff, and whatever does bleed down, I'm sure. But all we can do is really just wait and see.
Yeah.
All right then. So that was basically all I had, Martha. So unless you had something else, if you wanted to maybe talk about your departure from Hack, you could do that too. But
I won't go into much detail in that. All I'll say is Corps have different priorities, and my priorities weren't compatible. So I thought I may as well head off before that becomes a problem.
Sure.
But I'm back. I'm back mainly where I started my journey. I'm back in the same corp, which I was in Provi in when Trog took over. I'm hoping it'll be fun again.
Yeah. Nice. Cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well, with that being said, I think we had a pretty decent conversation on the ongoing issue of 2026 and major alliances and what that opposes for like PvP and all that type of stuff, and some of the things that the devs have put into place and could work on, things that we could do to maybe assist with that. But at the end of the day, whether or not anything changes, who knows, man? It is what it is at this point. We can only talk about it. It's up to the people to make the changes, but whether or not they do, I suppose that's that's beyond my pay grade, right? So I can't tell them what to do, but it is what it is. So Martha, thank you for joining and talking with us about this. I know
thank you for having me.
I know you wanted to talk about that. So good deal. Thank you.
Thanks. No problem.
All right. Juby, I know you haven't really played that much recently, but you used to be in like the Major Alliance PvP warfare and stuff, and that's diminished greatly. And what's your opinion on it? You've been quiet, I know.
Yeah, I've been complaining about it like, I don't know, maybe a year, possibly, but it's hard. Like how do you say? I used to, like, I had a video where we had like almost 1,000 players on grid, like in the beginning. But now it's lucky if we have 200.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you fly a dreadnought, you still feel like you're the smallest ship in the fleet.
Crazy, huh?
And you're like, yeah. I like it was this year I made a promise that I will fly a big boy ship for PvP and try capital stuff, but still, dreadnought feels a bit small, like compared to what you need. And very hard.
All right.
Sub-capital fights is the most fun, but it's usually like I think people don't even kind of prioritize capital or sub-capital fleets in PvP or alliance stuff. You can like send 10 or one whack with a Sino to do the job, basically. If it gets in trouble, the supers will be Sinoed in, and so it's like a roaming bait vac, basically, going in.
It's
now
actually
you get to the point where it's like, let's form up our CTA. Let's get 2 fleets of full battleships. We got everything set up. Oh no, they dropped 20 supers. Okay, guys, let's pack up and go home. That was a waste of 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been in many that type of fleets. Like I remember when we tried to fight AOA, and we're like, hell yeah, let's go fight AOA. And like after first gate camp, you can see they had 40 supers and some dreadnoughts and all sorts. And that was like the first visual threat what you see, and you can only imagine what's the support, or is that the bait or whatever. And then we need to turn around immediately, burn back to gate or you die.
Yeah.
And I wasted my whole weekend for this, god damn. And so it's crazy.
I think an ongoing issue too is we need more FCs.
Oh yes, that's always been the problem.
Bullshit. Skip
Who wants
the
the
bullshit.
FC with subcaps when there's no content for them? Who wants to move into that kind of gameplay?
Okay, so it goes for both
you
sides.
First need to earn.
So it goes for both sides.
Yeah, you need
so
to earn it.
If I want to go roam Cache, you think that they have a fleet or an FC available online in order to combat my roaming fleet going into Cache? I think they need FCs too.
Probably.
I just think in general we need more FCs, and that goes for every corp, every alliance, and especially more FCs of different ship types. That's why Joda was so good back in the day, because he was able to do not only just capitals, but he was also able to do frigates, and he made it fun. And there's been other FCs that were similar in doing, cruiser fleets and battleship fleets and all this type of stuff. But I just think we need more FCs.
When I was in Void and Kraken, we had a very a program how to train FCs. And the first problem is that you be FC, then you start promoting a fleet, and everyone is like, who the hell is that guy?
Right.
Am I gonna risk my ship? And is it SRP? So do I get ship replacement if I die? And if you're not Alliance dedicated or FC, you don't have the SRP usually. And then you're like, oh yeah, so this is from your own pocket. Let's go to my wild adventure. And then suddenly you realize you have only 4 or 5 guys. So you need to have a ship rental program, basically, as a FC. You have this arsenal of ships and you give loaners to players that join. Like any player who just fly your pod here and you get a cruiser, like a stabber or whatever. So let's take you just distribute ships, and then you have an able fleet of 50 guys. Basically, and then you just need to have this big arsenal what you take with you everywhere, or ask the players to fly the ships to new destination or whatever. So it's very hard to if you come out of the blue and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be Captain Yubi, let's go. And then everyone is like, yeah, Yubi is a popular guy, I might join him. But in the end I feel like it's gonna be 10 or 15 guys probably. The basic everyday, at this point of the game you can always recognize that name I remember, he was my opponent 2 years ago in that war. And I can almost recognize, I remember names. I used to shoot that guy, and now he's in the same team. And it's not like the PvP guys suddenly appear from nowhere with full implants and perfect skills and unlimited budget. So it's the PvP is like a hobby, basically. You don't make any money from it, except I don't know, we try to dismantle citadels and sell the parts to build this rental fleet what we had. And it worked, but still it had to be a lot of real money investment in that like a lot of DR yeeting and stuff in the background to make these fleets happen. But yeah, it's very difficult to make FCs, and the game doesn't even teach players how to play the game. And like it's usually, if you're a FC, you need to have like, I don't know, 2 or 4 alt or alt accounts. You scout your fleet. Basically, you're like roaming solo, and you're using scouts so you can see information same time, and then you have your map open same time, and you're looking at opponents Ansiblex network, how they can gank you or don't go to a dead end system, and make all sorts of things. But it's basically one bubble and super can still ruin your day. Like when you jump a fleet to next system, and you haven't scouted that you need to go. And yeah, the supers have that area effect thing that can disable your warp and of course the bubbles and shit. So
right.
Yes.
Yeah, so crazy stuff. And I also think corps and alliances need to not incentivize in the negative way. It seems like a lot of times incentives can go negative, but and that goes for like SRP, that goes for paying people, all that type of stuff. And as long as you do it and it doesn't take the fun out of the game, it doesn't make it like a real life job, or sorry, a game job, then I think the fun will remain and people can do things without worry compared to
but
they
it's
have to worry.
very hard. For me, like why I took a break from Echoes is almost like it is a job, kinda. You need to grind. You need to, like, if you don't have 100 billion in your wallet, then there's a problem. Like,
Yeah.
everything what I need is very expensive. Like, I want to level up my implant. Oof, that's 300 billion.
I'm gonna say it.
And
I'm just gonna say it. Bring back Corp SRP. Screw Alliance SRP.
Oh my!
Bring back Corporation SRP. Yeah. First of all, it'll be cheaper. Not to throw the Alliance under the bus, but it'll be cheaper than Alliance SRP. And 2, it'll entice more people to use battleships and frigates and cruisers and tackles and dictors and everything, rather than capitals every time, every day, everywhere. Because you know why? Because Corp's not going to SRP it, especially super. And some may be able to do it, but yeah, for a majority of Corps, they're not SRPing supers like an Alliance can.
Not yet.
Blame me all you want. Blame me all you want. All right. I actually want to get to the next guest before we run too long here. Good with that?
All right. Yes.
All right. So the next guest that I have is came in the after party last week, and a lot of longtime listeners of this show will know of Kyrmsonkyng. So I know, he was previously a co-host on the show. We did game shows. We did a bunch of stuff back in the day. And so he had returned to us. And I was talking with him a little bit in the after party after last episode. And to my surprise, he's playing Eve Echoes again. And so I want to welcome Kyrmsonkyng, a.k.a. Gabriel. What's going on, man?
Hey, not much. How you doing?
Doing good. So
I don't know Kyrmsonkyng, but I know Gabriel. I didn't know in person when you told me about him.
So yeah, like I said, Kyrmsonkyng, he was a former co-host back in 2022. It had to have been right around there because I remember I was working on my house, but
yeah,
we did things together, man. You did, I think, did you do Jeopardy shows? You made all the questions and answers for Eve Echoes Jeopardy, and we hosted those shows and gave ISK away and all that type of stuff. Like, those were good times. That was back in the day when corporations would sponsor us and give us ISK to give away. And that was also the time where a billion ISK to have a billion ISK at that time was like you were part of the 1%. You know, not many people had that. But anyway, Kyrmsonkyng, it's nice seeing you, man. And you know, per our conversation in the after party last week, you know, you're kind of given the history as to what has all happened since your departure of the show and what you've done kind of in real life since then. And just to go back as to what it all happened, it was right around Christmas, and you were part of the show. And I remember you were doing some like anti-spy stuff for Tuna, something like that. I don't know if it's recruiting or what, but you had released some videos about maybe some potential spies and all that type of stuff, and so that was good and all. I was recording a song with a person of the community. That was one of the Christmas songs we were doing, and you'd come out and kind of accused me of spying on you and doing all this other stuff with him, when in fact I was recording a Christmas song because I had the Christmas song to prove it, basically, right? But you know, we can look back and laugh at this, and I hope you do too. But we had asked you to resign from the show because you were just like literally going crazy. You were saying crazy things about myself and Taylor, you know, accusing us of doing things that we weren't doing, et cetera, et cetera. And I had no choice but to ask you to resign from the show. And, you know, we had agreed upon that. I had told you, hey, man, I hope the best for you. Fast forward a little bit, you had actually written a book, and it kind of did get pretty popular in the Evacos community as to the name of the book was How to Spot a Neo-Space Nazi, written by you.
Yeah.
And when that came out, that kind of, I don't really know what the right words to say was. Like, we read it, it mentioned me a number of times, and a lot of people read it and were like, dude, what is going on with this dude? Like, Rambo, what did you do to him? I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything. Like, I mean, we were part of the show and all this type of stuff, and we had personal conversations and, you know, stuff that I, you know, maybe I told you some things that I don't really tell a lot of people in New Eden, but that was due to like the comfort and relationship I had with you at the time. And so this book came out, and, you know, Taylor is involved and SHH is involved, and you're moving away and changing your living situations and all that type of stuff. And so a lot of people read that book and refer to like still to this day as one of the craziest crash outs of Eve Echoes. And so, Crimson, I hate to tell you, but you kind of hold that title for having that. But I welcome you to the show to talk about your experience and why the book came about and why we can kind of laugh at it nowadays.
Well, I'm sorry. So everybody became guilty by association when my second favorite bartender got killed at Club Q. And I'm sorry. I crashed out hardcore. I really freaked out because I had kind of a near-death experience. Like, I wasn't there that night, but I was supposed to be. Like, I'd been drinking, and this is back when I was still drinking. I was trying to quit, but when you quit, it induces paranoia sometimes, and in me, especially, it led to a lot of perceived coincidences. So Silent Alliance, for example, had the skull with the finger over the lips, and like, it's a Totenkopf. Everybody's Nazis, which, because of the guy who shot Club Q running a Nazi website, and because of just a whole mess of just fear and frustration and basically too much news, a steady diet of fear and frustration. and an assumption that, because of the company I was working for at the time, I was a target. Like, the computer I was using to play Eve Echoes and a bunch of other things was really old and vulnerable. And I hadn't done any sort of maintenance or anything like that for it, because I figured mobile games and cheap phone games and cheap games, like, I wasn't really engaging in anything fancy. World of Warships is about as fancy as I got when it came to games, but basically I'm just gonna ramble at you.
No, yeah, go for it.
I tried. I'm so sorry, man. I tried to write down all of the coincidences. I tried to make it clear what I was seeing from my perspective, to like explain, hey, this all makes sense. Like, I got targeted and attacked, and oh no, but it wasn't me. It was me being a narcissist, and dude, it got wild. I'm not allowed to go back to the UK until 2033. I ended up applying for like, the book only covers everything up until I ended up being homeless.
Wow.
And like, I pulled it down because it was embarrassingly, like, everything that's in there actually happened. The links to the videos, like, I had a conversation with a viewer that I was trying to like teach how to let someone else tank in a T10, which it was too advanced for where he was at, and like, I was too arrogant, like, just do what I'm doing, man. And then he ended up calling me captain in there, which fucking set me off, because I used to be a captain in the Air Force. Like, I'm an Air Force Academy graduate. I served from 2011 to 2018. When I got out, I became a military contractor, and I had a clearance for a while. So like, I assumed, targeted. And like, I was very super secret squirrel about my engagements with the Eve Echoes community, because like, I know there's a lot of Russian involvement in the game, and like, all of the military hype and fear mongering that led me to want to get out of the military just ended up driving me even more insane and scared and paranoid, and like, oh god, everybody's out to get me. And the Club Q shooting was just, that was the spark, because like, I was supposed to be there that night. I had planned to go there and unwind. I was getting over a breakup, and like, Eve Echoes was my creative outlet, and part of the reason why I was so committed to the show, and like, making Jeopardy every week, and being an active participant in Tuna, and like, writing articles on Reddit. I don't know if you remember. I think Reddit's how you found me, right?
Yeah, you were doing like a weekly Reddit. It was a post about whatever the subject was, right? And it was a lengthier post that went in depth and was educational. It was from an aspect that thought outside of the box, and it kind of got to a wider audience, whereas they can relate to in-game problems or how the game was played at the time.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm listening here, so no stress. I could say it takes big balls to come to a live show and just let a rip. Like, even I cannot do that. Too ashamed of myself and whatever is bothering me.
Yeah.
Like it's but yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you for sharing everything. And no hard feelings, I hope, from Rambo or whoever was in the book. I haven't read that book yet, but let's see if I can borrow the copy from Rambo someday.
I do have it.
Some Juby juice and read
it. I do have it. And I was telling Crimson last week in the after party, I actually have a signed copy of it because I was mentioned so many times in there. So there's only one person in New Eden that has a signed copy of it, and he listens to the show. So But I know it's kind of funny, but furthermore, Crimson, I want to talk about like the events that had happened in the book. If you want to talk about post us asking you to resign and what followed from there. Actually, and if you remember, tell us your perception of like that time I was in comms and recording that song and what you thought at the time.
So the reason like I freaked out is I think there was some expectation that you would respond or we were going to talk about what was freaking me out. This was post shooting, post encounter with some local gangbangers that like I just automatically assumed were involved with the shooting. They were totally unrelated. Like that's the thing is when everything's a threat, everything like sort of becomes part of the same, monster, the same organization, which like that's not how, people work, but that's how I was viewing everything is like whatever scared me was part of the same organization, the same sort of paranoid delusions that occur with a lot of people who are addicts, in my case, an alcoholic, but like there's things just kind of get lumped together. They become like minor coincidences seem prophetic or auspicious or like super important, right? So the timing there, you talking, you recording the song because it was in the lead up to Christmas. This was basically for the 4 months after that, like after I left Echoes of New Eden, my life kind of spiraled out of control. I lost my job, I lost my home, like I lost everything. I ended up giving all my stuff to friends and family, and like I was convinced that an organization of Nazis in conjunction with narcos from south of the border was going to hunt me down and put me in a barrel in the desert, like bury me in a barrel in the middle of the desert. I don't know why I had that specific delusion, that specific fear, but it was one that like kept me up at night. I slept with a shotgun next to me for months. Like the only I invited neighbors over to a barbecue to try and like, set myself at ease, like prove to myself, hey, the fear that you have, this paranoia, it's coming from the booze, like, and quitting and trying to, be creative. I don't know. I'm not really sure what all
You were thinking at
you
the
want me
time.
to talk about
Yeah.
from the book. I just know like the book itself. I pulled it down once I realized that no, it wasn't a conspiracy. It was just sort of a come to Jesus moment. So I got sober. I ended up quitting everything. The punchline to about a year of crazy is I spent a month on an IV refusing to eat or drink people to know about, even though people are going to find out about them one way or another. Anyway, because of that, like that tension, that fear, and like the rising tensions. I don't know if you guys have looked outside lately, but there's World War III basically going down out around us. Rising gas prices and just the fall of the American empire. Because of all of that, like I just sort of conflated everything into one big monstrous conspiracy. Some like Illuminati shit, but instead of Illuminati, it's just Eve Echoes, this mobile phone game, which is nothing compared to Eve Online, but I assumed that because, money laundering is relatively easy in a video game space, somebody somewhere must be converting dollary dues into Plex and then using that as a resource for selling drugs or, buying houses, which like yeah, just because it's possible doesn't mean it's likely.
Yeah.
And the things that were unlikely that did occur just kind of set me off. I got crazy and I wrote about it, but I got better. Now I'm writing for.
That would be a good book, actually. I got crazy. Yeah.
I pulled it down. If you guys want, I can send you links to like the copies that I've still got. But I pulled it off of Amazon. I think only one person bought it. So whoever got the
Yeah.
I don't know who you got to sign it, but it wasn't me.
I know who bought it, and that was the person who gave it to me. So, but yeah, man. But it seemed like at the time, myself as well as Taylor were like enemy number one to you, and like you'd said, like we were like your only friends, right? We were talking to you through Discord and all that, but then like accusations were coming out as to I think this was prior to Taylor becoming SHH executor. I don't know if he'd been executor at this time yet, but because he was part of the show prior to becoming executor of SHH. But there was like accusations of spying on you and Tuna and all this, and we always denied it anyway because of course it wasn't true. And it's like, dude, we're not doing that. I know you can send me this video of this conversation you had of this guy, and you tell me not to share it. Guess what? I never shared it, but you still accuse me of sharing it. I'm like, dude, I never shared it. And so, you know, and then you perceived or convinced yourself that I was against you when I was actually not against you. I'm trying to understand what the problems were and trying to deny the accusations. I was like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. And you didn't accept it at the time. And it's just like, dude, I have no other choice but to have you resign and get some help. And so then that's when the book came out. And, you know, in some of the events in the book that were interesting was like the so you talked about the club, you talked about the show and like the whole spying thing and all that type of stuff. You mentioned Taylor quite a bit in it as well, but then you're talking about I think there was a scenario where you were in an apartment and there was some shady tenants nearby, and you were afraid to go outside, and you actually stuck up a cardboard cutout of yourself that you snuck into the apartment complex and stuck it in front of the window in case they wanted to shoot at it. So there's like stuff like that, man, that had me very interested as to why that was a thing.
So I didn't want to fly off the handle and attack anybody. Like my goal was to like get shot at and survive. So, you know, I was trying to expose people that weren't trying to kill me, which led to some really weird behavior. The cardboard cutout, I forgot about that. That was because I live in Denver now, but I was living down in Colorado Springs, and in the middle of this snowstorm, up on the third floor, they had the windows open. And this is in the middle of the night. I was trying to quit smoking on top of quitting drinking. I was quitting a lot of stuff, which led to a lot of paranoia. And I thought I saw a sniper in the window, like aiming a gun at me. And like I freaked out and ducked around the corner, like behind the stairwell right next to where I was sitting and smoking. And this dude from across the way comes out and he's cussing about snipers. And he's like, come the fuck out, like that kind of thing. And cussing up a storm loud enough across the street that I can hear him and make out what he's saying. Well, it turns out he was playing Apex Legends, and I didn't believe him when he told me this later on, but I was like, why were you out in public when I was basically trying to bait a violent response out of this dude who was totally nonviolent, just this stoner bro, gamer dude that I probably could have been good friends with if I hadn't been, you know, freaking out, scared. Like he was never a threat, but I just kind of assumed he was. mostly based on survivor's guilt and just this association with what ultimately wasn't a thing.
Yeah, you're still thinking that you're still like being targeted at this point.
Yeah. I thought it was so clever with the cardboard cutout too, like at the time, because like the goal was to get him to get him whatever sniper was up there, because it was like 6 dudes living in a 1-bedroom apartment, which, you know, that's not a gang, that's just people being poor. But I assumed it was a gang because like 6 dudes, 1 apartment, that's nuts. Especially when they do weird shit like climbing in their own window, their own front window.
Yeah.
Because they probably locked the keys inside. One of the 6 bros probably locked his keys inside.
Sure.
But I saw that and I was like, oh, they're trying to intimidate me. Everything is about me. It's that narcissistic mindset and that like the world revolves around my perspective. I'm the main character, not you. Bullshit, basically. But like it scared me. It scared me to the point that I like tried to get weird with it. I ended up reporting it all to the FBI too, and they're like, "Nah, man, you're crazy." I'm like, "Okay, well, explain this coincidence. Explain this coincidence. I wrote a 50,000 word book full of coincidences. Explain all of this evidence." And like, you can't reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. Like, you guys were my only friends in the world, and I thought you were monsters. I thought you were bad guys suddenly, all of a sudden, just because, you know, 5 people were killed one night in a club, and I wasn't there to die with them. I was very self-destructive. Like, part of the reason why I drank so heavily is a lot of survivor's guilt and just a whole life full of nonsense and trauma. Like, I am all sorts of tense and messed up more often than not. Like, if I don't meditate and write, and if I don't write is the big thing, but if I'm not creative, then I get really self-destructive really quickly.
Do you think that part of that was due to our allegiance in game, because you weren't technically blue with us or green?
Yeah, no, I think I know I wanted a fight. I wanted to be opposed. I think what happened was my imagination ran with me. I assumed that because, you know, hacking tools are freely available, everybody's hacking. And it didn't help that around that time, I think Benzie's account got hacked too.
Sure.
Yeah, which was just another coincidence, right? That's another like shot across the bow. Oh man, I'm being targeted. All content creators that aren't part of the Silent Alliance are being targeted, which was bullshit. Totally fabricated and made up. I thought that, you know, the goal of Monopoly was one worth no longer playing Eve Echoes for, just playing Discord and hacking and like psychological warfare.
Yeah, it's
which, you know,
it was kind of interesting how you mentioned it in the book about us, because of our allegiance in game. We were kind of using you as like our clown or pet on the Discord for content creation purposes and all that type of stuff, and that was never true. I saw the value that you provided to New Eden and to the podcast as in your writing and in the stuff that you wanted to do and liked doing, enjoyed with the game at the time. I saw value in that, and I was like, dude, I got to have you. And so when you agreed with that, you know, we ran with it, and it was never anything to put against you. Like, we could care less that you were in Tuna. We could care less whatever alliance Tuna was a part of at that time. I think it was GenFed, or they eventually joined GenFed or something like that. But yeah, it was never that scenario, and so like I denied that right off the bat too. I'm like, that was never the case. You know, with every co-host that we've had on the show, it's always been respect. It's always been you know, if you have things to say, value to add to the podcast, any of that, it's all good, you know. And life changes, of course, we understand that, and so that kind of led to what, you know, the reason as to why you had to resign and all that. Moving forward, I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that you're clean now. I'm glad that you can come back and admit and apologize to the things that you've said and done in the past, as far as being a human being. We all have problems. We all have, that type of things happen in real life, and over the internet you don't really see it that often, unless you do see it and then it's something crazy, like, and it doesn't get acknowledged to the extent at which I wish it did, because I think in a world we live today, it is a major problem. But that doesn't have anything to do with Eve Echoes. But when it's somebody that created content for us, that played Eve Echoes, and then happened to be involved in all this other stuff, and then come back to us, I can only appreciate you for doing that. And my only question is for you, Crimson, is why'd you come back?
Well, I couldn't quit Eve Echoes. I love it. Like, so a lot of folks give it flack for being a poorly designed game, and it's got its flaws. Like, it's very whale friendly. It's pay to win. But there's so much cool procedural generation. Like, it's got really good bones. The game up until T7, like Tech 7, the game for an alpha, like for an alpha player, is really, really good. Like, I wrote a book about it. I wrote another book about it called Orion's Belts. And like, I came back because it had me designing a tabletop. Like, I started making my own, pen and paper version of Echoes. I missed it so much. I missed you guys, and like missed the play called East of Aries. I started designing, a role-playing game system built around my experience with philosophy, and like the way there's this strange inversion due to scale. Jeffrey West, I think, I can't remember the name. Jeffrey West wrote this book called Scale that talks about like why bigger critters live longer, for example, and like why smaller critters are, faster, and how scale affects the design and evolution of organizations to include organisms. And there are no other games out there that have, Eve Online or Eve Echoes level of procedural generation and sandbox availability. Like, it is the best war game, the best mobile war game out there. It's the best war game that I've ever encountered. And like, this is coming from, I was the president of the Wargaming Club at the Air Force Academy in 2011. Like, I've got I've got this deep-seated love for fiddly, crunchy math bits that I am too stupid to wrap my head around, and like just this love of logistics that exists pretty deeply within the bones of Eve Echoes. Like, a lot of folks give industry crap. They say industry sucks, but what they don't understand is industry and the manufacture of small ships is really just the conversion of tritanium to an ISK source that is, a better evaluation and more accurate representation of its value. Like, tritanium, for example, is worth 0.7 ISK ish. And you can see it on the market, like how if you post it at 1 ISK per, it sells, but slowly, right? You can measure these things. I'm a data analyst by trade, or at least I was, and like Eve Online, especially because of the manufacture of bullets and all the little logistics fiddly bits, is a much better detailed simulation game. But like, Eve Echoes is just a fundamentally better war game. Like, because it's got such a lower degree of granularity, it's a lot easier to mass produce and just have fun with free-to-play ships. Like, I manufacture ventures for fun. I build Thrasher 2s, and I I station them all over Meow and AOA space, trying to take advantage of the conflicts that are ongoing. Like the Annihilator fleets coming through. Oh man, like there are so many POSs out there that are vulnerable. Like I blew up one solo last week, and I had a fight last night. This Marzio showed up and popped my favorite Hurricane, and my third favorite Stabber from 400 kilometers away. Like holy smokes, I didn't know those capabilities were out there, because like I've gone through and peeled the shields and armor off of, a bunch of POSs just looking for fights, but nobody's out there defending their shit. So like for a free-to-play player, there's never been a better time to farm the whales. Like you throw some torpedoes on a Caracal trainer and you just go post it up on a POS, and even if you lose that ship, peeling the shields, like you get intel. And it's really not that great of a loss. It's that's one run of For Freedom, right? Like to get that set up. Anyway, like I wrote a book about how to play for free and have fun. Like how to live the alpha life without getting sucked into whaleness. Just because there's a lot of, I know it's just a game, and I know procedural generation is a weird thing to geek out about, but there's a lot of really cool math and like design underpinning the smaller ships. Like one of the reasons why I'm attracted to Gromeyer's community and like the content that he produces is, dude, you are a PvP badass, and like with a good sense of humor. I think the moment where I got hooked on what you're making was when you had all the Velators. You pulled like the ultimate small ship, picking on an abandoned, what was it? It was like a scorpion or something that you guys like slowly ground down. Like that's the good stuff. That's what I want to see. I want to see like we live in an age where oligarchy has come to a head, and here is an artificial space where landed gentry, the folks who pay for Omega, and I'm one of them. Like I don't spend real world money on Omega because I don't have it anymore. I'm trying to make a living writing, which there's a reason they call them starving artists, and it's a good one. But like, I want alpha players, people to come to this game for free and realize that a lot of the toys, the big expensive toys that are out there that people, take full advantage of, are vulnerable. Those POSs and corporation stations that would require a big group of folks to take on, like the POSs themselves can be soloed. You don't need to be an Omega to do POS warfare. You don't need to be an Omega to get into industry. You don't need to be an Omega to PvE even. Or like for PvP, for an actual fight, yeah, you do. But not necessarily, because you can still attack soft targets and you can still thieve, like steal modules. Like I've picked up scanners that were worth 1.7 bill and flipped that. Like I've stolen stuff that would have paid for a month's worth of Omega outright. Like all of that for free. And like you can't do that in other games. Like there other games are constrained by objectives, whereas Eve Echoes, like, and Eve in general, but sandbox RPGs, you build the objectives, and Eve Echoes is a better version of World of Warships because it has the third axis. Like you can, even with the combat being as cheap, and almost instantaneous, like that Marzio deleting my Hurricane. Oh no! Like I only fly cheap ships, so the loss felt more like a victory. I got new intel. I didn't know Marzios could shoot from 400 kilometers away, and I didn't even get yellow boxed. I just got deleted. I don't know if it was because he was outside of a specific range or what, but like I learned something and it hurt, but like I didn't lose any of my Mark 9 cannons. I didn't lose any of my anything that I couldn't replace within a day. And I'll be right back out there knocking on his door to see if he can come back and play again. Sure. This time with a Tall War Assault.
Yeah.
Like silliness. I'm sorry. I could rant for days. I wrote a book about it.
I think people are interested in this book, so you do want to, if you can, share it on the Discord, and people will check it out.
Yeah, if folks want to find it, they can find it. It's Orion's Belts. My name is Gabriel Nekashea. I've written that and then a few others. I don't think I'm ever gonna release How to Spot a Space Nazi again, unless you want me to do so. But even then, I would put a whole bunch of disclaimers because that was terrifying, and I'm really sorry that it happened.
No, we can keep that one in house. Like, if it's Eve Echoes related, like, I'm not going to ask you to put it back up on Amazon. So
yeah, no, definitely not. So Orion's Belts, Alpha Life, and Eve Echoes. It's on Amazon. I tend to find that the folks who want to find things are the folks that you want to find those things. So if people want to go looking for it, cool. I'll post a link. I don't know. I don't like. That's the thing about writing is I don't like advertising it. Feels like it, because I'm gonna do it whether I get paid for it or not. Like, I kept doing those articles right up until the end.
Yeah, my next question I was going to follow up with you playing the game again. Are you going to start doing like content creation again?
Start doing what?
Content creation.
Sorry. The books are kind of the main thing. So I wrote Alpha Life. I've got notes for an Omega book, basically how to maintain Omega for free. Because there's a lot of industries that are unexploited, a lot of niches that get overlooked. Part of the reason why, for example, the nanocores, recruit and those the pirate faction nanocores that were super like perceived to be weak, but were really just very cost efficient and underappreciated. Like, that used to be a really easy way to earn Omega if you wanted it. I don't know. I'm not going to do like weekly posts or things like that, but I am going to keep writing. Like right now I'm working on a novel, so that's kind of my next focus, but I'm going to keep, making content in the game. I'm going to keep harassing POSs and operating out of Turnback ITC, Hexrex ITC, and Freelance ITC. I'm going to keep talking doctrine and why people should name their own stations, name their shit, and only talk about it using those code names, because it's more fun to try and figure out, well, what is Freelance ITC? Like, there's a lot of hints that I talk about in the book.
Yeah.
But if Ethereum reach is huge. There's so much potential for profit there, and like ODSF has a really good chokehold on it, but like they can't restrict access forever, especially since interceptors can breeze through one of the 3 entrances.
Don't be telling all their secrets now.
No, so ODSF is amazing. Like, out of all the corporations I've encountered, they're scary. Like, they've got some insta-kill gate camps that you can't get through, even with an interceptor. Like, they got me down to half hull trying to breeze through. Like, I won't give away their secrets, but
well,
I guess to answer your question, yes, I'll be making content, but no, I won't be doing it like as fast paced. Well, that's not true. I give Orbi reports every other day or so. I talk about my corporation, but my corporation is just me. The way I operate is I employ the universe. I basically take advantage of corporate rates because everything's based off of JITA, right? Like,
and discounted, yeah.
Yeah, it's that 20% below JITA price, but the corporations set the JITA price. So it's a circle jerk. So like, I can sell stuff at 20% that 20% and still make profit. Especially if I'm willing to take a loss on it. Like the venture market, for example. I flip those. I buy them super cheap, 100, 200, whatever. And then I sell them at just double that, which is about half what they cost to make. I'm like a intergalactic used car salesman while still manufacturing, and it's not just the venture line. Yeah,
you're benefiting
venture
from
all
those alpha players mining in HiSec and ventures.
Well, that not necessarily HiSec. Really, like you want to throw the cheapest ships at the hardest content. Like a lone venture in any of the T10 mining spaces, Ethereum Reach especially. I don't want to start a gold rush out there, but like if you can get a venture out there and fill its hold once, it pays for itself 5 times over.
Yeah. I have a venture 4 out there specifically for sniping.
Yeah. So can mining though, like if new players knew how to can mine and just used ventures as rock transports, you could do the same thing in a catalyst or any other destroyer and like make even more while spending even less. Like there's all these really neat tricks that new players could take advantage of and free players should take advantage of. People spend way more than they could ever recoup on, battleships and up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you remember, I was always into small ship content. That ain't changed.
You are into all the things that nobody else is into. And I find that to be fascinating. And it's not talked about enough, honestly. Dude, seriously, it's not. Like the stuff that you mentioned, we haven't talked about it in a long time, if not ever. I remember there was one time you were looking at, it was like artifacts that were being bought and sold on the market. Like, have you ever just looked through the junk in your hangar and found these random artifacts that you get from like gifts or the tutorials or whatever else, and then you look at the market and they're going for like 80 billion a piece or something? Like, why are they that expensive? Because somebody's buying them. And who's making a profit on that? Oh, I know. Kyrmsonkyng was making a profit on that. So, you know what I mean? So I like the fact that you think like that and you provide that additional view of things when it comes to the Eve Echoes, either game mechanics or market, anything like that. So it's very unique. I would say don't stop, man. I enjoy it. I think it's interesting.
The perspective that he has is actually very rare in gaming these days, because I find myself as well getting caught up in the fact that I need to have the most optimal setup. I need to have C types. If I don't use C types, I'm gonna die. If I'm using something that has short range webs, I'm gonna die. So I just don't take it out. But actually having the perspective to say, hey, this might not be the most optimal setup, but it is the easiest way that I can have fun at the lowest risk, is something I think more of us need to adapt to have fun in the game. Sure. We always get caught up with, we need the most expensive fit, we need integrated nanocores, or we won't even go out. And it's actually something I need to retrain my brain to think as well, because I got caught up in that as well.
Yeah, ISK per minute is very big. People, that's why they do the integration beyond hell. And freaking they put there's probably Marzios and HiSec that are worth a T with all X types,
Yeah.
and huge integrations, all that type of stuff. And we don't see those otherwise until like a bug happens and they die for some reason. Then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, that's a thing? Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. You know how many Marzios are probably in Clairlam wreaking the havocs of a high-sec island with like max efficiency, max ISK per minute in X types and fully integrated rigs and fully gold rolled gold nanocores? That is very well a thing. And then you also see it in DR. The amount of money that people put into DR just to get leaderboard, like these are aspects of the game that not everybody talks about. But anyway, Crimson, I want to end on that. We're pushing on time, so I want to end it on a good note. It's nice seeing you. Thank you for talking with us and telling us about kind of some of the things that have happened, and you're better now, so I'm glad for that. And I just thank you, man. And even then, for the content and all the stuff that you did in the past, we thank you. no hard feelings from the last time. I mean, I pretty much got over it, even though you probably reported me to the FBI. Nothing happened to me, so at least not that I know of. But I mean, no hard feelings. I mean, it's just a game. So what can you do?
Thank you.
All right, then we'll end it on that. So again, thank you, Crimson, for joining us. I'm going to move you into the audience. And then Gromeyer, Juby, I think we're just going to end it there. I know you guys probably got stuff to do. And so OBS failed. OBS crashed 3 times on me during this podcast. And so I am fed up on that. And so I am curious as to what all got cut out in that conversation. But I might have to find another program in that sense. So big rip there. But it is what it is. We're trying new things and trying to make it work. So it's all part of the process. So. All right, then. With that being said, I want to thank our audience for joining. I want to thank our viewers and listeners out on podcast platforms and YouTube. I want to thank Gromeyer and Juby and our guests today for joining us and talking with us on today's podcast. And with that, I will say 07, and we'll see you out in space. Remember the freighter raid coming up in a couple weeks. And then, I'll just let Gromeyer and Juby finish it out, and we'll call it a show. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast, and let's see you next week, and prepare for the freighter raid. Raiding ships ready. Rambo is eating a freighter.
Yep.
So that's something.
Yeah, I'll try to record if I can attend.
Awesome.
We'll
it should be right around this time in the morning for the freighter raid. So of course I got preparations I need to do, but it should be right around the time of like when we normally do a podcast.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, dudes. Take it easy. We'll see you out in space.
Later.